As we all know, crime never pays off, especially if you're dumb and not good at it. In today's episode of Brain Feed Lab, we are going to dive into the 10 most stupidest thieves who prove that today. Sit back, relax, and let's look into the world's most foolish criminals ever been caught. Number 1. Florida Trio. In Silver Springs, Florida, a trio of drug thieves stumbled upon what they thought was their lucky day. They broke into a home and found 3 jars of what they believed to be cocaine. Without hesitation, they took the jars home and proceeded to snort the contents. However, their fortunate discovery took a dark turn when they realized that the jars were not filled with drugs, but were actually urns. And what were they snorting? The cremains of the victim's husband and 2 dogs. Now, that's a bizarre and unfortunate twist of fate, isn't it? It's like something out of a dark comedy. I can only imagine their shock when they realized what they had unwittingly ingested. Number 2. Scottish shoplifter named Aaron Morrison. One fine day, he decided to pinch a bottle of vodka from a liquor store. Now, you'd think that after such a daring act, he'd want to keep a low profile, right? But no, Aaron had other plans. As he made his daring escape, or so he thought, he decided to flirt with the sales assistant. And not just any flirtation, he went all in and asked her out on a date. But here's the kicker. Aaron left behind a little memento for the clerk, a parting gift, if you will. His name and phone number. Yep, you heard that correctly. The same guy who just swiped a bottle of vodka decided to give the sales assistant his digits. Now, I don't know if he was hoping for a romantic rendezvous over stolen spirits, or if he genuinely thought this was a smooth move. But let's just say it didn't take Sherlock Holmes to track him down. The poor sales assistant probably had a good chuckle before promptly handing over Aaron's details to the authorities. Number 3. Not so devoted dad. It's Bring Your Child to Work Day, a time-honored tradition where kids get a glimpse into the grown-up world of business. Most parents take their little ones to the office, show them spreadsheets, maybe let them play with the office stapler, innocent stuff like that. But not our protagonist. Nope, he had grander plans. This particular crook decided to blend family bonding with his chosen profession, robbing a pet shop. Yes, you heard that right. He brought his young son along for the heist. Perhaps he thought it'd be an educational experience, like a twisted version of Take Your Kid to Work Day. Now, I can't help but wonder about their conversation during the getaway. Son, this is where we put our finely honed criminal skills to work. Observe closely as I snatch that chew toy and make a break for it. But Dad, isn't this stealing? Nonsense, my boy. It's just, a business transaction. Now grab that squeaky ball. It's our golden ticket. Alas, their criminal escapade didn't go as planned. The duo was caught, probably because the son was busy trying to teach the parrot some new swear words. And here's the kicker. The dad was apprehended, but his son? Well, he vanished into thin air. The police found him safe and sound, but without his partner in crime. And that, my friend, is how a pet shop heist turned into a parenting fail. Lesson learned. Next time, stick to the office tour and skip the felonies. Number 4. Coffee shop robber. Picture it. A cozy coffee shop, the aroma of freshly brewed beans in the air, and 2 unsuspecting men patiently waiting in line to settle their bill. Life seems ordinary until our third player enters the scene. This guy, brimming with confidence, cuts in front of the line like he owns the place. But he's not there for a latte, he has grander plans. With the grace of a caffeinated bull in a china shop, our would-be crook hurls a drink at the poor cashier. And then, he demands every last penny from the cash register. Now, here's where the plot twist kicks in. The 2 men, those patient souls who were just trying to enjoy their morning brew. They're police officers decked out in full uniform, badges gleaming and everything. In a move that would make any action movie proud, they pounce on the bewildered crook, slap on the handcuffs, and there you have it, a lesson in situational awareness. Because when you're about to commit a crime, it's probably a good idea to scan the room for any telltale signs of law enforcement. Number 5. Graham Price, a former financial consultant from South Wales, decided that the usual methods of embezzlement were just too mundane. So he spiced things up a bit in his office at the Gowerton branch, surrounded by stacks of cash and the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee. He had a plan, a daring one. One day, as he pilfered funds from the bank and hundreds of unsuspecting investors, he left behind a little souvenir. A scrap of paper, neatly tucked into the empty branch safe, bore these words: "I have borrowed £7 million from the Halifax." And just to make sure everyone knew who the mastermind was, he signed it with his own name, Graham Price. Most thieves would opt for a discreet exit, perhaps a ski mask or a getaway car. But not Graham. No, he wanted credit for his financial escapades. Graham was a heavy gambler, which probably explains his creative approach to financial management. He operated his own investment firm alongside his gig at the Halifax Bank. His victims, 85 investors, and the bank itself, were left reeling. Some lost life savings, others their trust in humanity. And guess how Graham was finally caught? An unannounced audit in November 2004 revealed his little IOU note. The auditors must have blinked at it, wondering if they'd stumbled into a Monty Python sketch. Graham got a 12-year jail sentence. Not exactly the return on investment he was hoping for. Victims like Jennifer Ellis and Susie Mills found their lives upended. Retirement plans shattered, dreams dashed. Thanks, Graham. The Halifax Bank, ever the pragmatist, distanced itself from those who invested personally with Graham. Not our problem, they said. So, there you have it. Number 6. Drug dealer. Jason Pache, a resident of Vancouver, Canada, found himself in a rather peculiar situation. The local police, minding their own business and investigating someone else entirely, decided to pay a visit to Jason's apartment. Their mission? To search for drugs. Now, Jason wasn't even on their radar initially, just an innocent bystander, or so they thought. But fate had other plans. As the officers examined Jason's old cell phone, they stumbled upon a digital revelation. There, in all its glory, was Jason's self-appointed moniker, Jason Pache, drug dealer. You can almost imagine the scene. And just like that, Jason went from being an innocent apartment dweller to the star of his own criminal drama. The police promptly adjusted their focus, realizing they had a live one, a guy who not only dealt with substances, but also helpfully labeled himself for identification purposes. Jason and his girlfriend, Clarissa Prosper, faced charges of drug trafficking and possession of ill-gotten gains. Their shared bedroom yielded over $5,000 and a stash of marijuana. Not exactly a cozy love nest. In court, Jason pleaded guilty and received a conditional 1-year sentence. Lesson learned. Next time, maybe choose a less conspicuous phone label, buddy. Number 7. Derek Mosley. It's a sunny day in Oregon, and our protagonist, Derek, wakes up with a brilliant idea. He thinks, you know what would be a great way to make some quick cash? Robbing a store? But instead of choosing a cozy bakery or a quaint stationery shop, Derek sets his sights on something a tad more challenging. He grabs his trusty baseball bat and heads to none other than discount gun sales. Yes, you heard that right, a gun store. Derek strolls into the gun store, bat in hand, like he's about to hit a home run. Little does he know that he's about to face a different kind of pitch. Feeling all badass, Derek smashes a display case with his baseball bat. Glass shatters, adrenaline pumps, classic criminal stuff. But wait, the store manager isn't cowering behind the counter. Instead, he calmly reaches for his own personal firearm. Picture it, Derek, bat-wielding and probably regretting his life choices, versus the store manager, gun-toting and unimpressed. It's like a Wild West standoff, but with a twist, because in this version, the gun always beats the baseball bat. The cops arrive, find Derek sprawled on the floor, and promptly handcuff him. His charges? First-degree robbery, first-degree theft, unlawful possession of a firearm, and second-degree criminal mischief. And there you have it, the legend of Derek Mosley, forever etched in the annals of dumb criminal history. His ultimate dumbness ranking? A solid 10 out of 10. Number 8. Dumb and Dumber. Once upon a time in a small town, two aspiring burglars, Joey Miller and Matthew McNally, decided it was time to make their mark on the world of crime. But these two weren't your average criminals. They had a unique approach to disguises. Instead of opting for the classic ski masks, they thought, why not get creative? So, they grabbed some permanent markers and started doodling on their faces. Maybe they were aiming for a Picasso vibe, but the result was more like a toddler's chaotic art project gone horribly wrong. With their faces now resembling abstract art gone awry, Joey and Matthew felt ready for their grand heist. They set off into the night, armed with their masterpieces and a sense of misguided confidence. As they approached their target, they probably thought they were the epitome of stealth and cunning. Little did they know, their artistic endeavors were about to backfire spectacularly. As they attempted to break into a house, the permanent marker, true to its name, didn't wash off easily. So, when the police were called to the scene, it wasn't exactly a challenge to spot the culprits. The officers arrived, and there they were, Joey and Matthew, with faces covered in doodles, looking like they had just escaped from a preschool art class. The police probably had a good chuckle as they approached the duo. Realizing their disguises had failed miserably, tried to make a run for it. But it was too late. The officers quickly apprehended them, still laughing at the absurdity of the situation. As they were being handcuffed, Joey and Matthew couldn't help but feel a bit embarrassed. Their grand plan had turned into a hilarious fiasco. The police, still amused, dubbed them Dumb and Dumber, a nickname that would stick with them for a long time. Number 9. Mganga. It was a bright and sunny day in March, the kind of day that makes you feel like anything is possible. For 17-year-old Mganga, this meant it was the perfect time to embark on a daring carjacking. With the confidence of a Hollywood villain, he spotted a woman dropping her son off at school. Seizing the moment, he approached her with a gun, demanding her car keys. The woman, understandably terrified, handed them over without hesitation. Feeling triumphant, Mganga hopped into the driver's seat, ready to make his grand escape. He could almost hear the dramatic music playing in the background as he imagined himself speeding away. But there was a tiny problem. This car had a manual transmission, and Mganga had no idea how to drive it. He stared at the gear stick, his bravado quickly fading. How hard can this be, he thought. Spoiler alert, it's pretty hard if you've never done it before. Mganga fumbled with the gears, trying to remember anything he might have seen in movies or on TV. He pressed the clutch, shifted the gear, and tried to accelerate, but the car lurched forward awkwardly, stalling almost immediately. He tried again and again, each attempt more frustrating than the last. The car moved only a few yards in what felt like an eternity. Passers-by began to notice the spectacle, some even stopping to watch the show. Realizing that his grand escape was turning into a grand embarrassment, Mganga decided that maybe a life of crime wasn't for him. He bolted from the car, abandoning his ill-fated heist. As he ran, he could hear laughter behind him. The onlookers, amused by the whole scene, couldn't help but chuckle at the sight of the would-be carjacker fleeing on foot. The authorities, who had been alerted by the woman, caught up with Mganga soon after. They found him panting and out of breath, probably regretting his life choices. The officers, shaking their heads at his lack of foresight, couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of the situation. Mganga was promptly arrested, his dreams of a dramatic getaway dashed by his inability to drive a stick shift. Number 10. Mark Smith. It was a typical night in the quiet suburbs, but for Mark Smith, it was anything but ordinary. High on Valium and drunk on vodka, Mark felt an overwhelming sense of invincibility. In his altered state, he decided that breaking into a home was a brilliant idea. After all, what could possibly go wrong? Stumbling through the neighborhood, Mark eventually found a house that seemed perfect for his grand plan. He managed to break in, but instead of grabbing valuables and making a quick getaway, something else caught his eye: the homeowner's bed. It looked so inviting, so cozy, and Mark, feeling the effects of his pre-heist cocktails, couldn't resist. Just a quick nap, he thought, then I'll get back to business. So there he was, sprawled out on the bed, snoring away like he owned the place. Meanwhile, the homeowner returned, ready to unwind after a long day. But instead of a peaceful evening, they were greeted by the sight of an unexpected guest snoozing away in their bed. Imagine their shock and confusion. The homeowner quickly called the police, who arrived on the scene, probably trying to stifle their laughter. They found Mark, still deep in his drunken slumber, blissfully unaware of the commotion he had caused. The officers gently woke him up, and Mark, groggy and disoriented, blinked up at them, probably wondering why his dream had taken such a strange turn. As the reality of the situation dawned on him, Mark was promptly arrested. The officers, still chuckling, escorted him out of the house. The story of the sleepy bandit quickly spread, becoming the talk of the town. Mark was sentenced to 18 months, giving him plenty of time to reflect on his ill-fated adventure. That's it for today. Let us know in the comment below which of these criminals was the dumbest. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content. Thank you for watching, and I see you next time.